Hello there, Sagittarius. Welcome to your reading. When I was shuffling out the spread, I saw an image, and I guess it's kind of unexpected and kind of disturbing. So I closed my eyes and I was shuffling out the cards, and then I saw like ants crawling up my forearms. Ants crawling up, okay? And then the forearms, it became like its own entity, like it became like a separate image. And then the person that had the ants crawling up their arms, they kind of dust it off, like they have to dust it off, they have to basically like swat the ants away. So when I saw this image, I was thinking there's a sense of restlessness within you, because the whole expression about feeling like you have to move, feeling like you have to do something, feeling a little bit antsy or restless. Okay, I feel like that's what's happening here, and it's really telling you to sit still. It's telling you to calm down. It's telling you to be level-headed, and it's telling you to not make any rash or irrational or impulsive decisions. And I'm also sensing as well, there's an element here about, swatting things away, sort of like let it roll off you. Don't be personally invested in a situation, or don't take a situation personally, because it's not meant to be personal. So if you're dealing with criticism, if you're dealing with censorship, if you're dealing with somebody who might be they're constantly complaining, or they're constantly taking little jabs at you, because with the ants, some of the smaller ants, they can have a really powerful and painful bite. So it's more of an irritation. So if you're around someone who's irritable, and they're constantly like, they're irritable and kind of, they complain about everybody, or they complain about every little thing, you just kind of have to, let it fall off you and not let it affect you. I know that's easier said than done, but you also need to just let it roll off your back, and especially don't internalize it, and don't say to yourself like, I wonder if they're mean to me because of something I did. I wonder if they're upset with me. I wonder if I did something wrong. No, you didn't do anything wrong. That person is just, irritable. The person is just like this with everybody. And so don't let their bad attitude, don't let their bad attitude dampen your self-esteem, okay? So let me just go into this spread. So here's what I'm feeling. I feel like there is somebody that is constantly around you, and this energy is new. Okay, so it's almost like you're sharing space, sharing work, or sharing. It's like proximity wise, they're very, very close to you. So I'm almost seeing this room, and there are like two people in it, and you guys need a lot of space. You guys get claustrophobic very, very easily. You guys do not like routines. You guys do not like small confines, and you especially don't like to I just feel like, having to work with other people just doesn't really jive well with your independent energy. And I feel like for whatever reason, something is happening this week where there's one person specifically, and I feel like for some of you, it could be a family member. For others, it could be like a colleague that you have to do a project with, that, you both have to do something together. And for others, I feel like it might be, a new boss, like having to answer to a new boss, or having to figure out, I wonder what this person is about. I wonder how they operate. I wonder what's the best method for dealing with them. So I see a little bit of apprehension from your end, because I feel to a certain extent, this person's opinion of you matters to you. And so I feel like because of that, it indicates to me that you do care about this person. And I also feel like it's just a little bit hard. And I also feel like there's this element here about, you know, I'm going to do this portion of it, and then you do the other portion, and then we'll convene at the end, you know? And when I feel like if you were to do that, the end product is going to be very, very disjointed. So there's some warning here about, you know, sticking it out. And if we need to do this, both of us need to do it together. So I feel like if it's a colleague, if you're in an academic environment, you have to do group work. If we're gonna do it well, we need to stick it out together from the beginning to end. Both people or all people need to be on board. Otherwise, the end result is going to be bad, and the end result is going to be very disjointed. Okay. And I'm also sensing as well, some of you are kind of giving this as an ultimatum. Like, you're in it with me 100%, or you're not in it with me at all. So if you want me, you need to, you know, put in the effort. We need to be in it 100% all the way, or not at all. So I feel like it's a mantra that you are, it's like the battle cry, the war cry for this week, but also it's something that you're giving somebody that ultimatum, that piece of your mind, and that, you know, unflinching, unwavering want. Like, this is what I want. If you can't give me what I want, I'm not going to have you in my life. So that's what I feel is happening here, where it's almost like, you know, really putting your foot down and no longer being easygoing. And, you know, I feel you guys are quite easygoing. You're not so rigid and stubborn and things like that. I mean, you like your space and all. And if people give you your space, then great. But what I feel though is a lot of the times, you know, you're very live and let live. But I feel like if you're dealing with somebody whose actions affect you directly, that's really when it's almost like coming to the realization that somebody's actions affect you. And so you kind of put your foot down and you're just like, this is what I want. If you can't give me what I want, if you can't be in it 100%, if you're not sharing the responsibilities, if you're not, you know, if you're not on board 100%, then, you know, you might as well exit the picture right now. So I feel like you're being firm, and I feel you're setting boundaries, and I feel like you're being very, very clear about where things are headed. And you're being very, very clear about, you know, shutting off your emotions and just thinking about a situation very logically. And I feel like you're saying this to somebody that you still care a great deal for. Okay. The other thing that's coming into the picture. So we have here a water sign. This is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This is somebody that has, I almost feel like you bring something very, very pure, very, very new into their life. Okay, so it's almost like, let's just say, if in the past they have been really, if they've been very, very unfaithful, if they've been very, very non-committal, I feel almost like you bring this, not only are they attracted to you because of, you know, passion and chemistry, and because, you know, they're physically attracted to you, but I almost feel like the way that you are, they find it very refreshing. And they find the way that you are, the carefree energy, the fact that, you know, you don't really impose expectations on them in the past. So whatever it was in the past, or whatever the situation might have been, they find you very refreshing. It's because you don't have ulterior motives when you're dealing with them. You don't impose, you know, expectations on them. And I also feel like you're not one, like you're so independent that you're not clingy with this person, that you're not like needy with them, and you can do your own thing while they're off doing their own thing. And so they find that really, really refreshing. And then I also feel like Um, if they have been very non-committal, very unfaithful, or had a unfaithful streak in the past, they want to commit to you. It's almost like you're bringing that sense of stability. Like, let's. It's almost like I'm hearing, I wonder what it's like to settle down, to have a family, to raise children, to have, the house with the white picket fence. I wonder what that feels like with this Sagittarius. And I feel almost like this is a person that is really afraid of commitment because they're afraid of monotony. Like they're afraid that, we're going to fall into a rut. We're going to have children, and then our lives are going to revolve around the children, and we're going to have, like, the house in the suburbs and the SUV and the dogs and the white picket fence, and everything just seems like life stops. So that's why they're really, really afraid of marriage. They're really afraid of commitment. They might have been through it, and they're just like, life stops when you have children. Maybe that's why they're so commitment phobic. But because you're so fun, because like being with you is really fun, is very optimistic, is very expansive. You can take like the most mundane activity, cleaning the house. And then I feel like with you guys, you turn on your music to make the chore less boring, right? Let's be honest. No one likes to clean, especially, not Sagittarius people. And then you start dancing and, you make like something very, very mundane, very tedious, very fun. And I feel because of that, they feel like if I were with the Sagittarius, they could make something extraordinary, out of the mundane. And because of that, they're not afraid to settle down with you because they know that no matter what, you're going to make it fun. And so it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like the situation will fall into a rut. And it doesn't feel like their whatever their irrational fears about commitment, they're realizing that it's irrational. So I feel like there's something here. And once again, the energy can be vice versa, but I feel there is somebody that is wanting your attention. So I feel it more coming through from the other side, from the other people, wanting your attention, wanting to, offer a commitment, wanting to commit, wanting to really wanting to tell you, I've changed, or this is something I didn't want before, but after meeting you, I really want it. So it's almost like a big gesture, a big proposal, a big declaration of you mean a lot to me. So that's what I'm feeling here. And I'm also sensing as well, I'm also sensing for others of you that are not dealing with that situation, there's an element about somebody begging for forgiveness. There's somebody begging for forgiveness. And I don't know which direction this is playing out in. Is it from the other person or is it from the Sagittarius? So let me see here. This came out first. There is somebody begging for forgiveness, and I feel like it's coming through from the other person. And I have a lot of earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay. What I'm feeling is I feel like you might have dealt with somebody that really I feel like you might have dealt with somebody, and this can be romantic or friendship or whatever, however it resonates with you, because I do feel like there is a big, I'm sorry, please forgive me, that type of a way, that type of a communication. If it's a romantic partner, I feel like this is somebody that hurt you. This is somebody that made a lot of promises that they could not follow through. This is somebody that, you had really high hopes and expectations for, And I feel like they, um, I'm seeing like lying by omission. And lying by omission is sort of like, you start dating somebody 5, 6 months in, and then they're like, oh, by the way, I'm separated, but I'm not divorced. I told you I was divorced, but I'm actually only separated, and we're still living together. Okay, so it's like they chose not to tell you certain things, and they kept it hidden. And then when they reveal it, you can't tell them that, oh, they've been lying. They lie by omission. They just kept that part of the story hidden. you know, or like you find out they have like 5 kids with it's somebody that withheld some information, vital information. And I feel like you might have walked away from that in the past, and now they're coming in for an apology. So if that's like a romantic partner, I feel like you've moved away from it. You're no longer wanting to entertain that person. And I honestly feel like the apology is very, very half-assed. Okay. I feel like they could, and because that's the nature of lying by omission. They could tell you, oh, I didn't really lie. You just never asked. You never asked if I had children. And so I never gave you the information. Or they could say, like, you never asked if I was divorced. And or you asked if I was divorced, and I said in the process, but you never asked if I'm still living with the ex or whatever. So that's how I feel this situation playing out. And I feel so, begging for forgiveness. This is what's showing it to me. You're very, very stoic and hard when you're dealing with this person. I feel like they're no longer, it was one of those things where it was like lying is unacceptable, or it was one of those deal breakers. Everyone has their deal breakers. These are the things that I will not tolerate. So if you commit these acts, or if you, for whatever reason, if you breach these conditions, we cannot go back. And I feel like that's what's happened here. It could be, somebody being unfaithful. If you tell yourself, I will never stay in a situation where someone cheats on me, that's the deal breaker, and they cheat on you, that's the moment where you are going to have to toughen up and, stick to your standards, okay? Or it could be in a work situation where you are negotiating a salary, and they're like, oh, I'm going to give you a raise, I'm going to give you a raise, I'm going to give you a raise. And you're like, if you don't give me a raise by the end of the year, then I'm walking away. And now we go into January, and they're like, I'm sorry, we don't have the money to give you a raise. And so you're going to have to stick by your values. So I feel there's something here where things were promised but never delivered. It could be that salary increase. And then I also feel where a situation where somebody definitely wants you back because I feel like, they've been around the block. They thought they could enjoy more out of life, being by themselves or being with other people, whatever the case is. And they're coming back around mainly because they see the value in you. They see the worth, and they also see that you're somebody that, they really want to be with. I have a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And I feel like this is a person that is in your life to, I feel like, lessons in general flow both ways. If there is ever a person, lessons go both ways. And what I feel happening is they might teach you to be a little bit more soft-hearted, to be a little bit less harsh with your judgment. And then likewise, you could be teaching them, to so not be in that emotional space, and to be a little bit more, I want to say, ambitious, driven, and to be a little bit more sort of like more boundary setting. Okay, because water signs in general, except Scorpios, water sign Pisces and Cancers are very, very bad with boundaries. They don't know how to, set up these walls to protect themselves. So I feel like if it's a water sign, you're teaching them to be like more boundary setting, because for you, you guys really value independence, and you don't like it when other people just, you know, unexpectedly just impose themselves upon you, or like expect you to do certain things even if you're not really close to them, like that sense of entitlement. You don't like that, and I feel like you're teaching them to set boundaries. You're teaching them to be a little bit more bold with telling people how they feel, to be a little bit more like, you know, don't worry about hurting people's feelings, just spit out the truth. So there's a lot of learning that's happening between the two of you, and I feel like they're definitely learning from you. And then I also see, you know, earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, somebody that might be aware, they're catching a whiff or catching news or getting some information that you might be single, or, you know, I feel like they might be single as well, and they're coming into the picture. So I feel like there's a change in a relationship status, and then somebody is all like, let me just, you know, go back to this person, let me just give this a try. So I feel like there might have been a misconnection, like somebody that really wanted to be with you, but you weren't single at the time, or whatever circumstances, you might have been at a distance from each other, or you really wanted to be with them, but they weren't available. And so I feel like a little bit of time has lapsed, and now somebody's single and they're trying to, you know, gauge interest. Okay, so I feel like it can go both ways. There definitely were 3 people involved. Like it got a little bit complicated, too many people involved. And so that there's that element about, you know, misconnections and poor timing, because you both were at different points in your life, or you both were, you know, in positions where you couldn't act on this connection, and so there's a second chance. I'm also feeling as well, there is some news here regarding, it's almost like somebody who's not being a team player. So I feel like this is potentially in the work environment, where everyone is, you know, everyone knows what they're supposed to do. Everyone knows where they're supposed to be at what time. So it's almost like the work environment, it's ran like a well-oiled machine. Everything works. And then there's one person that's like a wild card. And, you know, they don't know what they're supposed to do. So then they have to ask everybody every single step of the way. And I feel like it slows down operations. And then I also feel there's somebody who's like trying to create conflict in an environment. It's almost like they come to work and they're scheming, like, who should I, you know, that's what it feels like. Like from your end, you're just like, you have so much free time. You just come to work and you sit there and scheme. Who should I pick on today? Or who should I undermine today? Or who should I, you know, aggravate today? And it's like, no, they're, you know, once again, don't take things personally. They're just like this with everybody. They like to create drama. And there's a special type of people that needs that, okay? It's almost like they're lonely, they're not able to get the recognition in a positive way, so they're settling for negative attention. That's what I feel is happening. And you know, don't give it any attention, don't feed into it, and especially, you know, learn to shake it off. So the last thing that I'm going to end it with here is don't get restless. Don't get restless, okay? So this is sort of like, sit still, take care of your responsibilities, do what you need to do, but at the same time, before you act out in particular, you want to really look at what you're doing and really think about, is this the best course of action? Are there other possibilities that I should consider? Okay, so there's a lot of antsiness, and I see a lot of momentum and energy, and I feel like for some of you, honestly, You might be living in an environment where you're snowed in, you know, like where there's like inclement weather, where there's a lot of snow or a lot of rain, and you're kind of stuck in one place. So physically, you want to be out and about. You have a lot of pent up energy, you know. Do some meditation. If not, you know, drive yourself to a gym if you can. If it's cold outside and you want to go running but you can't, you know, join a gym temporarily, or even doing like sit-ups, push-ups in your area, or even meditation, and of course, you know, reading, whatever it is to get your mind off it, okay? Because I see a lot of restlessness, and I see you being in a small confined space, and I feel you being a little bit uncomfortable, okay? So I hope the reading is helpful for you guys, Sagittarius. There are a lot of good things, but I just feel like there are a lot of things that you're considering and you feel the need to act, but you don't really need to act. You don't really need to act. You just kind of need to let it sit and marinate on it a little bit, okay? So I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.